Testing, testing, testing. Hi there guys, my name is Rohan Beve, and in today's video we are going to be talking about brazing. Now, in today's video we are going to be talking about what exactly is brazing and how does it work. So let's actually first answer the question, what exactly is brazing? Now the thing is, brazing is different from welding, even though they have the same exact objective, but it works a bit differently than welding. Unlike welding, where you take two components of metal, right, two main pieces of metal, and then melt the in between them, right, cools down and sticks to be one strong piece, brazing does that a bit differently. So how does brazing work? Well, it all begins with part 1 and part 2, okay? So let's say we have part 1 here and part 2, okay? And we want them to be connected. So we first have to clean them, make them all shiny, right? And then we have to fit them together in the designated spots and make sure there are some like areas where the joints are supposed to be and just like holes where you want to connect it, okay? Then the pieces are then put in like at that specific joint area. A bunch of heat is put there, and this heat, normally brazing, happens around 450 degrees Celsius, okay? And the heat can be applied from torches, furnaces, and other various objects, okay? Or just stuff that can create heat, okay? So once the heat is there, right, then they'll put in a filler metal. Most of the time it's a brazing rod, okay, which is supposed to melt, okay? Now this brazing rod is more or less made up of copper, silver, brass, and other materials, okay? So they take this brazing rod, and this can be known as the filler metal, okay? So then they take this filler metal, apply the heat to specifically not the two parts, part 1 and part 2, no. They specifically apply it to the filler metal and melt it, okay? So they only melt this filler metal. And thanks to a phenomenon known as capillary action, okay, capillary action, what happens is that the molten filler metal basically clogs into the joint, okay? It is pulled into the tiny gaps of where you want the metal to go. So let's say we want to fit them together, we leave a tiny hole so that way this filler metal can go in. And eventually, once it's cooled down, it'll become this one strong piece. It's been connected and it stays, right? So that's more or less how brazing works. It's kind of like using like glue in a way. Well, that's what I think, but let's understand a few more points. So for example, what exactly is capillary action or capillary action, okay? It's basically this phenomenon where the molten metal basically gets pulled into the tiny gaps. That's basically for example, on how this phenomenon works. You know how water goes through toilet paper, right? It's the same exact phenomenon, okay? So that's more or less on that, and that's more or less on how brazing works. It basically, like, the advantage of it is that you don't have to melt the main metal pieces. All you have to melt is just a filler piece, okay? It's some like super hot molten filler metal, right? So just melted filler metal, just place it into the gaps, cools it down, and then it just sticks together, okay? That's basically what brazing is. And well, that's basically it. Thank you for watching this video, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.